Hi, welcome. My name is Joseph Schwartz, and this is Gait Masterclass. Why gait? Well, our movement gait has many different aspects. Walking is one of the most fundamental translators of our movement capacity that there is. And so, because of that, we can use walking as a gauge on how well our body is integrating and moving. What is integration and movement? It comes to what is available for our nervous system to utilize, meaning each joint has a capacity, and we need to have the ability to engage the capacity of each joint. And when we can't, our body will find a workaround. Now, this particular program has many sections to it. We're going to start with joint by joint going through the body because we want to increase capacity. We're going to start with a bottom to the top mobility sequence where we're looking at how the feet, ankles, knees, hips, pelvis are functioning. And then we're going to come to the bottom from the top to the bottom sequence, and we're going to look at how the cervical spine, the thoracic spine, the lumbar spine, and the pelvis are functioning together. Now, in another program, Spiral Arm Drive, we go into detail the mechanism of the appendicular skeleton from the shoulder out. So that would be the reference sequence for what would be the core to extremities in relationship to the upper limbs. Now, we're going to go through this progression of identifying the movement capacity of each joint. Then we're going to look at assembling all those individual building blocks into more and more complex movement till finally we're at a gait where we'll be looking at our 18-point walking gait. Now, why is this so important that we look at it joint by joint? And it has to do with our nervous system. Our nervous system is infinitely brilliant. It knows what movements are available for us to choose and utilize. If there's not a movement that's available, it will use a coping strategy. So we have to identify which movements are not available. And so we go through this joint by joint. Now, there's something that I was taught. It's called component theory. And this is a process that our brain utilizes when we are responding to movement. Our brain looks for which components are available, and it can assemble a response to movement based on those available components. If a component is not available, the brain will come up with a workaround. So, we're going through this process that in some ways feels pedestrian, in some ways it feels so nuanced that we get lost in the minutia. However, what we're doing is we're providing the brain more options. And when the brain has more options to respond, the brain is going to take the path of least resistance. The brain is going to choose the most optimal and efficient option. And so we have to go through this process to make those options available. One of the things that we have to look at is what I call skill development. In skill development, we have these basic building blocks of our components, of each individual component, the joint by joint. Then those components start to combine. And as we start to combine those components, they become new skills. We need to be incremental in the way that, one, we're going through the learning process, and two, how we're challenging both structure and our nervous system. And so this program isn't a one and done. This program may take you several months to several years to master. I know that in my own personal practice, I've been working with these particular movement sets for nearly 20 years. And the first 2 years, I saw a huge difference in my movement. And then, after that, the nuances started to reveal themselves. I saw more and more refinement in my movement practice. I start to look at how I can change the order of these initial building blocks in my practice to create new effect in my nervous system. And so I'm going to encourage you to look at this program as an entry point into a daily practice, an entry point into that desire to move better and to feel better. Enjoy the program.